Hello viewers. So today topic of our discussion is introduction to the Patanjali Yoga Sutra, and today we will discuss on the very major topic of the Patanjali Yoga Sutra, that is samadhi. Because samadhi, for the understanding of yoga, samadhi is very necessary to understand, and samadhi in itself is a very complex and very core philosophical topic of the Patanjali Yoga Sutra. That's why for the understanding of samadhi, the more and more concentration is needed here and more attention is needed here. So, in our today's lecture plan, we will discuss one by one. First, the definition of samadhi in the Yoga Sutra. So, actually in the whole of the Yoga Sutra, we know where we can get a exact definition of samadhi, because there are so many topics discussing samadhi, and one get confused after going through all the descriptions of samadhi in it. So, that is why we will discuss, or we will try to maintain the definition of samadhi here. We will try to discuss samadhi, definition of samadhi in the Yoga Sutra. Now, in the next we will see the types of samadhi, because there are so many types of samadhi. Generally 2 types are discussed, but under those 2 types we will see there are certain levels of samadhi, are all types are discussed in the Yoga Sutra. So, after going through all the definitions and their explanation, we will conclude our lecture. So, first we see that it is very difficult to find out an exact definition of samadhi in the yoga scheme of Patanjali. Even nowhere we find the correct translation of samadhi. For example, if we see that if we want to get a correct translation of samadhi, so there are so many translations. For example, we can also say samadhi as contemplation. Sometimes we see the translation as concentration, sometimes we see the translation as meditation, but the same translations are available for the dharana, dhyan and samadhi. So, when we call dharana, so dharana is just a contemplation, and then when we call dhyan, so dhyan is also translated as concentration and meditation, or sometimes contemplation. So, this is very difficult to find out the exact translation of samadhi in the Yoga Sutra. Even if we want to translate samadhi in the Hindi translation, so it is also very difficult to translate samadhi in a one way to in Hindi language. So, that is why this is the problem. Moreover, we see in the translations of Yoga Sutra that nowhere we find the exact translations of the concepts or the terms of yoga in the other languages. So, this problem we will also see here in the samadhi. So, for this reason we will discuss samadhi, just only samadhi, not any translation we will use here. So, samadhi is not a term, because it is an exhaustive concept in the Yoga Sutra of Patanjali. Hence, thorough study is needed here for its understanding. If we see that samadhi is only a term, so we will be in the wrong direction, because for the understanding of samadhi we need to more concentration on the concept, the whole concept of the Yoga Sutra, because whole concept of the Yoga Sutra is evolved around the concept of samadhi. We will see it later. So, samadhi is said to be the essential and inseparable part of yoga, because without it one can hardly find any foundation of yoga. Because for the foundation of yoga we see that samadhi is very necessary, and when we see the understanding of yoga, when we go into the understanding of yoga more in deep, so we will see that these are the inseparable concepts. We cannot separate samadhi and yoga together, separate. So, as we know that word yoga comes from the root word yuj, which is further explained in 3 ways. So, as for example, for the understanding of samadhi, we are going here to discuss the yoga, term yoga or concept yoga. So, it is discussed in from the root word of yuj, we can get the meaning of yoga. For example, yujara yoga. Yujara yoga is the one meaning of yoga, which means yoga is association or addition. In the same way, yuj sayamne, there is another meaning of root word yuj, that is called yuj is sayam. So, sayam is also a technical term in the Yoga Sutra, that is why there is no exact or close translation of sayam in this Yoga Sutra. Now, we see yuj samadho, yoga is samadhi, yoga is said to be samadhi here. So, that is why we have 3 meanings of yuj, and we will see that which meaning is very beneficial and very close to the meaning of yoga in the Patanjali Yoga Sutra. So, we see that in the beginning of the Yoga Sutra, Patanjali has given the definition of yoga as the complete cessation of the waves of our mind. When our mind is totally ceased, or our mind fluctuations of our mind will totally cease by any yogic practice or by any practice, then that state of mind is called as yoga according to Yoga Sutra. Now see, because Vyasa in his commentary on the opening aphorism of the Yoga Sutra explained that yoga is samadhi. Thus the third meaning of the root word yuj accepted here for the definition of yoga, where this root word say yuj samadho, means yoga is samadhi. Hence we can understand the closeness of yoga and samadhi in the Yoga Sutra. Even Vyasa in his commentary directly explained that yoga is nothing but samadhi. When we attain the samadhi, we will automatically attain the yoga. Now we find a definition of samadhi in the beginning of the third chapter. That is why I am giving you the several definitions of samadhi in the Yoga Sutra, because these are very confusing statements, and after going through all these statements, you can clarify yourself and you can make the clarification of concept of samadhi in yourself. But if you see, if you want to hear from Yoga Sutra that which is the exact definition of samadhi, so nowhere you will find. But we can say that samadhi is equal to yoga, or wherever we see the term yoga or the concept yoga, so samadhi is already there. So now the definition which we find in the third chapter, in the beginning of the third chapter, that is, when the object of meditation only shines forth in the mind as devoid of thought of even the self, that state is called as samadhi. So when we concentrate on or meditate on an object, so after some time that object only shines in us, even the self is also not there, only the shining of that or reflection of that object remain there. So that state is called as samadhi. So we can also understand that this state, when the state of meditation becomes so and so deep that only the object is sent by itself, obliterating as it were all traces of reflective thoughts, it is known as samadhi. So only object remains there and even not the self remain there. So that is why this state is also called as samadhi. Samadhi or meditation is the highest stage of yoga. It is the best form of stillness of our mind. There cannot be any subtle concentration than that. So we cannot compare any kind of concentration to samadhi, because it is very highest level of the state of our mind concentrated. Now we see the types of samadhi. So there are so many types of samadhi, but in the beginning we see samadhi is said to be of two types in the Yoga Sutras, as one is called Sampragyat Samadhi and another one is called Asampragyat Samadhi. So it means that Sampragyat Samadhi is that level of samadhi in which we will see that our mind become illuminated, and that illumination of our mind is called as Sampragyat Samadhi. But in the Asampragyat Samadhi, our mind is also illuminated in that state, but illumination go beyond the level of Sampragyat Samadhi. That is why the Asampragyat Samadhi is the higher type of samadhi or highest level of samadhi, and Sampragyat Samadhi is said to be the lower level of samadhi. So we will see that sometimes Sampragyat Samadhi is said to be Sabij Samadhi, and Asampragyat Samadhi is also said to be Nirbij Samadhi, because in Sampragyat Samadhi we will see that there remain a seed of concentration. For the concentration we need a we need some object for our concentration, and in that object we need to concentrate more and more. So in the Sampragyat Samadhi there remain a seed of concentration. That is why Sampragyat Samadhi is said to be Sabij Samadhi. And in the Nirbij Samadhi, what is also called as Asampragyat Samadhi, there is no seed for our concentration, only self remain there and only self illuminate there. So we will discuss it later on, all these things. Sampragyat Samadhi is further divided into four portions. As we have already discussed that Samadhi is described variously in the Yoga Sutra. That is why the more concentration is needed for the understanding of Samadhi here. For example, Sampragyat Samadhi is also divided into four types, as Vitarkanugat Sampragyat Samadhi, Vicharanugat Sampragyat Samadhi, Anandanugat Sampragyat Samadhi, and last one is Asmitanugat Sampragyat Samadhi. So we can see that these are the levels of Sampragyat Samadhi. When we go into the Sampragyat Samadhi, when we will experience the Sampragyat Samadhi, so we first will experience, or our first experience goes into the Vitarkanugat state of Sampragyat Samadhi. Then we will go more and more in deep of ourself and more or more in deep of our mind. Then we will see, or we will encounter the further stages of Samadhi, that is Vicharanugat, Anandanugat and Asmitanugat. So these are the levels of Samadhi, and finally we can say that, and then Asmitanugat Samadhi is the highest level of Sampragyat Samadhi, in which our mind becomes fully illuminated, and we can say that state of Samadhi as Sampragyat Samadhi. Now see the another types, that it means it is mentioned that by the practice of Abhyas Vairagya, and we already discussed that Abhyasa Vairagya is already stated in the first chapter of the Patanjali Yoga Sutra. By the help of Abhyas Vairagya, one can attain the states of Sampragyat Samadhi. So one can easily attain, but keep in your mind, because Abhyas and Vairagya are not easy practices, these are very difficult practices, and one can attain these, one can go into these practices if he or she has a competent mind, or maybe he or she has a higher level of concentration. So now Sampragyat Samadhi is actually a state where our mind becomes fixed on a particular point, or in brief we can say that it is a one pointed state of our concentration. So concentration word is used here for the indication of Samadhi, or for the indication of Sampragyat Samadhi, but see that in the beginning we have already stated that Sampragyat Samadhi, or any type of Samadhi, we will discuss here in the course of Samadhi. So there is no exact translation. So that is why we are only for the indication we are using here the word concentration. But Sampragyat Samadhi, for which we can say that this is the objective concentration, or our point of concentration will be on a particular object. That is why this Samadhi is said to be Sabij Samadhi. Now see, this is further stated that about the Sampragyat Samadhi, that when the fluctuations of our mind are weakened by the practice of Abhyas and Vairagya, and mind appears to take in on a features of an object of meditation, whether it be cognizer, the instrument of cognition, or the object cognized. So as does a transparent jewel, and this identification is called as Samapatti. So Samapatti word is also used for Sampragyat Samadhi in the Patanjali scheme of yoga. But in the same way as Samadhi is not translated very well in the English, in the same way we cannot translate Samapatti in the English, but we see that sometimes the pupils or scholars use the word engrossment for the Samapatti, but we will see that Sampragyat Samadhi or Sampragyat Samapatti is same. Now for the explanation of this definition of Sampragyat Samadhi, we see if we place, or if we put a crystal near us or in front of us. So if crystal is very clear, so when we move a certain part, or when we move certain object in front of that pure crystal, so we will say all that reflection of that object will be in the crystal. So it means that we have to purify our mind as at a state that our mind become a pure crystal, and after becoming the pure crystal, just like a pure crystal of our mind, then we will see the reflection of ourself shines forth in our mind. So our mind will become just like the ourself at that state. So this is called the Sampragyat Samadhi. This we can understand in the form of Sampragyat Samadhi. Now we see that this Samapatti or Sampragyat Samadhi, in which there is the mixture of word, its meaning and knowledge, is known as Savitarka, because this is the another type of Sampragyat Samadhi, which is called Vitarkanugat Samadhi, and under the Vitarkanugat we have two variations or two stages, that is Savitark and Nirvitark. So Nirvitark we will go on further, but for the Savitark we can say then the object of concentration is a mixture of word, meaning and knowledge. That state of concentration is called as Savitarka Samapatti or Savitarka Sampragyat Samadhi, in which we only are concentrating on a particular object. So object is a mixture of word, meaning and knowledge. That is why we are calling it Savitarka Samapatti or Savitarka Sampragyat Samadhi. So to explain the word cow, for example, the object indicated by the word cow the mental impression created by the word cow and implying its form, various uses, etc. Although these are different, are generally taken together. When we state the word cow, for example, so cow is also a word. In the same time, there is a meaning behind cow, and there is a knowledge about the particulars of cow or attributes or virtues of cow, but we cannot discriminate them, we cannot separate them. And in the time of concentration, at the time of our gazing attention on this word, so we will see that word, meaning and knowledge, they all runs together, we cannot separate them. So this is the objective concentration, or we are concentrating on a particular object. Now see, when the memory is purified, the mind appears to be devoid of its own nature. So our mind will be devoid of its own nature or reflective consciousness, and only the object on which we are contemplating remain illuminated there. So this kind of samapatti is called as nirvikalpa samapatti or nirvitark samapatti. So this is the more higher stage than the savitark samapatti or savikalpa samapatti. So now we are going more and more subtle, because by the purification of our memory, now mind appears to be devoid of its own nature. Even there is no its own nature, only object is shining there. So when, however, the memory of our conventional meaning of the word disappears, the knowledge gained through the samadhi becomes free of vikalpa contained in the ideas formed through verbal instruction or inference. The true nature of the object contemplated upon is then revealed, and this state is called as nirvitarka samapatti, or free from any verbal thinking. So we see that in the savitarka samapatti, there we have the object of contemplation or object of concentration as mixed with the knowledge, word, and its different types of attributes. So it means that we are just contemplating or concentrating on a particular object. But when we go further, or when we go in advance, the nirvitarka samapatti, so in the nirvitarka samapatti, because there is no any verbal thinking. In the savitarka samapatti, there is verbal thinking, and through that verbal thinking, we are contemplating on a particular object. But here the object is not there, object will disappear. The meaning of the conventional meaning of our what is in our memory also, because our memory is totally purified here, that is why the conventional meaning also disappear in our memory. So this stage is called as nirvitarka samapatti, because when we concentrate on a particular object, so we will see that concentrating on a particular object, something comes in our mind because of our memory, because we know about that thing. That is why all these things comes in our mind. So this is very beneficial here to state that when we go into the nirvitarka samapatti, our mind fully become purified, and because of memory we have so many things or so many conventional meanings. That is why we cannot gain, or we cannot attain the higher levels of concentration because of our memory. Now see, for the savichara and nirvichara, because another state is called as vicharanugat samadhi or vicharanugat savitark samapatti or samadhi. So in the vicharanugat sampragyat samadhi, we see that there are two discrimination or two distinction or two variations, savichar and nirvichar. It is stated that their object of concentration becomes more subtle than the previous stages of savitark and nirvitark samapatti. So when we go further in the advancement of sampragyat samadhi, we will see from the vitarkanugat we will go into the vicharanugat, and in vicharanugat we will go into the more and more subtle levels of our concentration. So this subtlety pertaining to the object culminates in the alinga or in unmanifested form. So because there is a sequence of evolution in the yoga philosophy from Purush, Prakriti, Mahad, Ahankar, and in this way. So we will see that there is a great evolution of cosmos according to Yoga Sutra. So according to Yoga Sutra, according to this statement, we will go further, move in the subtle dimensions of the our reality or our nature. So we will go up to the level of unmanifested state of our being. So that is called the matter. totally matter. Matter is manifested in the form of varieties of concept in front of us in our surrounding. So we will go into the culminates in the alinga or in the unmanifested state. So that unmanifested state is called as Prakriti. So the last subtlety of our concentration will be the unmanifested state, that is Prakriti. For Savitarka, we can say that take sun as the gross object for contemplation. The mind will be fully on that knowledge of the shape, of distance and composition, etc. So all these comes together, shape, distance and composition of the sun together. So we are concentrating on the sun as a gross object. So this knowledge will, however, be accompanied by verbal concept. The sun is round, it is so far, etc. So when the mind is full of such knowledge, it is said to be the state of Savitarka Samapatti. So now we have discussed the Savitarka Samapatti, that we are taking an example that only when the object of contemplation is only sun, so we will move our attention only on the sun object, and the object, about that object we will always think, or there will be a verbal cognition in our mind that sun is round, it is so far from us, and in this way our mind will indulge in the knowledge of sun. So this is called Savitarka Samapatti or Savitarka Sampragya Samadhi. So for Nirvitarka, we can also say in this manner that in concentrating on the sun, its luminosity will only be realized. At next stage we will see that only the luminosity of the sun will only be realized, and its particulars would be shut out. So those particulars what we have in the previous stage will shut out, and when one meditate upon that luminosity to the exclusion of all the properties of the sun, being forgetful even of one's own self, as it were, one attain the Nirvitarka state of Samadhi. So in the Nirvitarka state of Samadhi, only the sun's shining or luminosity will be in our mind. Even the particulars or all those things or attributes or virtues will not be there. Only the shining will be there. Even we will not feel ourself there. So this is the state of Nirvitarka, state of Sampragyat Samadhi. Now when we go further, move on in this concentration, move on the Savichar state of Samadhi. So as we already said that Savichar and Nirvichar states of Samadhi are more and more subtle states of Samadhi. So in this way, when yogi apprehends the subtler states of luminosity by a special process of calming the mind and the senses, and that realization of light Tanmatra or monad is now we see when, however, the light Tanmatra is realized, the yogi perceives undifferentiated light monad shorn of its varieties, different colors, such is also in the case of sound and touch. Now we are seeing that when we go more in the subtle things, so the Tanmatra means the gross, when we see the gross aspects, so the essence of all those gross aspects is called as Tanmatra. So now we are concentrating on the luminosity of the sun, and then the luminosity of sun goes more and more in deep, because in the previous stage we have the only luminosity of the sun. Now we are concentrating the more in the luminosity, and the more in the luminosity is the essence that is known as light. So light Tanmatra remain there. So we are moving more in the deep of the our concentration, that is we are in the essence of that luminosity. That is called the state of Savichar. And the Tanmatra is not only the object of Savichar Samapatti, but other subtle objects like Ahankar, mutative ego, Buddhi or pure eye sense, and unmanifested Prakriti. These three gunas are also said to be the constituents or principles, and also serve as the object of concentration in the Savichar Samapatti. So now we see for the Nirvichar or the last one, that when a proficiency is acquired in Savichar and the memory is freed from any verbal concept, the concentration only reveals the subtle nature of the object concentrated upon. The mind is full only on the object, free from any verbal notion or vikalpa, and this is called the Nirvichar Samapatti or supra-reflective engrossment. So in the supra-reflective engrossment, we see then when we acquire the proficiency in Savichar or Nirvichar or all those previous levels of Sampragya Samadhi, we will see that our concentration become more and more subtle. So, we will go and move in the more subtle dimension, and though in those subtle dimension we will see that there is no verbal cognition, there is no verbal notion. So, that is the state of Nirvichar. So, these all are the objective level of concentration and technically called as Sabhij Samadhi. So, for example, Asmitanugat and Anandanugat are not described in the Yoga Sutra such as, but we can say that in the Asmitanugat and Anandanugat, we can say that when we go move on the further stages of our self, so the realization of further stages of our self is known as Asmitanugat and Anandanugat Samadhi. So, Asmita means the I-ness. When we concentrate more in our I sense or more in our self, so that level is called as Asmitanugat Sampragya Samadhi. So, these all are the objective concentration because the object is remained there. That is why this is called technically as Sabhij Samadhi. Further, when the instruments of cognition are purified, the knowledge that appears in the engrossed mind is called a Ritambhara Pragya. So, now after going into the higher and higher levels of Sampragya Samadhi, we will see or we will realize the nature of our mind in the form of unalloyed truth. So, unalloyed truth will manifest in our mind, and that state of our mind is full of Ritambhara Pragya or Ritambhara. So, Ritambhara means full of unalloyed truth. So, there will be unalloyed truths we will realize in that state of Samadhi. So, this is the next, and you can say the higher achievements in the Sabhij Samadhi or in the Sampragyat state of Samadhi. So, this type of knowledge is said to be free from any testimony and inference because it is related or it relates to the particulars of the object. Now, we see in the Ritambhara state of our advancement in Samadhi of Sampragyat Samadhi, we will see that this knowledge is free from any testimony or inference because the knowledge we gain in the Sampragyat Samadhi having no verbal notion, having no any type of inference and testimony. So, no need to testify that knowledge, no need to get that knowledge by the inference or by the any help. So, that is why this is the pure knowledge, this is the knowledge which we can say this is the truthful knowledge. So, this knowledge illuminates our mind full of that is technically known as Ritambhara. Now, the latent impressions born of such knowledge is opposed to the formation of other latent impressions because latent impressions are very difficult to move from our mind, and if our mind is full of latent impressions, so we cannot proceed in the way of Samadhi. So, it is very necessary to move out all the latent impressions in our mind, but the latent impression also arises in this state of Samadhi, and these latent impressions are very helpful for the movement of our mind into the advanced stages of Samadhi. Now, see that finally we see that by the stoppage of that too on account of elimination of the latent impression of Sampragyat Samadhi, the object-less concentration, there is no object in the concentration, in the course of concentration, that is called Nirbij state of Samadhi, take place through the suppression of all the modifications. So, where we will suppress all the modification of our mind, and our mind will become totally pure, and totally we will establish our mind in the state of Nirbij Samadhi. So, actually the latent impressions of Sampragyat destroy the latent impression of the fluctuating state, and even when the latter is totally eliminated, the mind is still retained in the discriminative enlightenment acquired in the Sampragyat Samadhi. So, this is the main aim of Samadhi, that all the latent impression will abolished and will totally destroy by the action of Samadhi. On attaining of the highest state of knowledge, there being nothing further to know and further to do, knowledge acquired in the Sampragya Samadhi and its latent impression will cease there. So, finally, elimination of knowledge gained in the Sampragya Samadhi is Nirbij Samadhi, and concentration are also known as Asampragya Samadhi. And when in this way fluctuation of the mind are totally arrested or totally ceased, the mind ceases to exist, and this state is called as Kaivalya or liberation. So, finally, we will go into the liberation after getting the realization in the Asampragyat state of Samadhi. So, these are the two states of Samadhi what we have discussed in this lecture, Sampragyat one and Asampragyat one. By the help of all these things or practices discussed in the Patanjali Yoga Sutra, we will one by one we will experience the different levels of samadhi, and in this way we can understand the samadhi on